Hi, my Kayla crew. Welcome back. So today's the day you're going to get to know me a little bit better. Well, a lot better, I should say. You guys have a lot of questions. I've got pages and pages and pages. I didn't realize how many questions you guys would have, and it keeps going, and I'm stuck. Yep. That's probably how this video is going to go. So we're going to get started. I'm going to break this video up, like I said, into two parts. So I'm going to post the first one on my birthday and the second one like a day or so after. So this morning, we're going to have some coffee together because I'm taping in the morning. And then a little bit later on, I'll tape again and we'll have some wine together. So grab your drink, grab a snack, get comfy because we're going to be here for a little while. But like I said, I got to break it up into two parts because, yeah, it would be long. Yep. All right, here we go. So I like my coffee black, and the stronger the better. I don't put anything in my coffee. What about you guys? What do you put in your coffee? All right, if you drink coffee. I know some of you aren't coffee drinkers, but I'm a big coffee drinker. Okay, so I thought I'd start off with like family and house type of questions because, you know, that was a popular question. And what I'm going to try to do is make it more of just me talking to you instead of like asking a question and then responding. So hopefully that works. But, you know, I'm new at this. I've never done this before. So bear with me. I could be really bad at this. You know, clothing videos are my thing, but I don't know. Talking to the camera like this, we'll see how I do. All right, let's go. So let's start with family. One of the biggest questions was, does your sister live with you? She does. So I have a sister named Kelly, and I actually asked her to come and be my interviewer today. Nope, she has zero interest in being on camera, and you'll probably never see her. She's actually done Stitch Fix boxes and Wantable longer than I have, and I've been trying to get her to do a sister Stitch Fix with me for the longest time. I thought it would be so much fun, but nope, she has no interest, so you'll probably never see her. She's 2.5 years younger than I am. I'm not sure if I said that already, and she's my only sibling. Pretty much my entire immediate family lives in Connecticut, and so we live pretty close by, so we are a close family. And I'm very blessed because I've had all four of my grandparents in my life. They're still in my life, and I actually had both great grandmothers in my life for quite a while, especially my great grandmother on my dad's side. She was alive until I was in my mid-20s, so I feel very blessed to have her in my life, or have had her in my life. And she's actually one of the people that got me really into fashion and clothing and style. I was going to talk about that a little bit later, but I figured I'd, you know, put that out there now too. So I have a pretty close family, and they pretty much live around here, which is nice. So I get to see them often. And let's see. Okay, where do I live and where was I born? So I live in Connecticut. I was born in Connecticut. I've never left the state. Well, I've left the state, but I've never lived outside of the state. I live pretty much in the central Connecticut area, and I went to school there too. I'll talk about that in a little while. One of the questions about Lexi, my Lexi, she's out here walking around somewhere and being sassy this morning, and I think the neighbor actually just came to give her a treat. Yep. That's what she does. She waits for her treats every morning. So Lexi is 2.5 years old, and she's actually a mix. She is primarily American Staffordshire Terrier, and she also has a little bit of Jinju and a little bit of Boxer in her. And you guys asked about her personality. She has a really awesome personality. I know I'm biased when I'm saying that, but she's just so sweet. But she's also a little bit sassy. You guys have seen that. She's got a lot of spunk in her. When we're inside, she loves to cuddle, but she also sometimes just wants her space. Yeah, she's got a bed in like every room. She's very spoiled. And then sometimes she just wants to be snuggled and she wants to go on the couch, which, you know, is okay with me. And when we're in the backyard though, you've seen her sprint around this backyard. She runs so fast, and she just loves to run. She loves to be outside. I don't know if I said this in my intro, but here in Connecticut, it's beautiful this weekend. I mean, we are in the mid-70s. It's sunny. It's warm. I think it's like 9 o'clock in the morning right now that I'm doing this. And yeah, it's beautiful. I can be in short sleeves. So anyway, getting off topic. That's going to happen probably. So you're going to have to bear with me. So she loves to run. She loves to spend time outside. And she's just, we love that dog. She wins everybody over. Like I said, the neighbor, every morning she waits outside for the neighbor and he gives her a treat. So she runs to the corner of the fence and she sits there. But I've got to talk to her about her manners, because lately I've noticed that she goes over to the corner and she starts to bark until he comes out. Yep, she'll sit there and she'll just bark. Not, you know, she'll just like once or twice, but she still shouldn't do that. We've got to talk about the manners because that's not nice. But anyway, yeah, she's just a little love. So she'll probably make an appearance during this video at some point. You guys know that. And then some of you have asked sometimes I say, well, I'm not home this weekend. When I say that, I'm at my really close friend's house and I'm dog sitting. She actually doesn't live too far from me either, but they travel a lot, and so I often dog sit for her. And they have 2 dogs. One, his name is Charlie, so you probably see him. He's a golden retriever, and then there's Bella, who's a pit bull, and they're both very sweet too. So when I say I'm not home, that's where I am. I'm at my friend's house filming. I stay there for the weekend and dog sit for her. So, and then another question was about, favorite childhood memory. I have a section about favorites, but I'm going to talk about my favorite childhood memory now. My favorite childhood memory is going to Cape Cod every single summer with my whole entire family. We'd rent a house, and we'd got to the point where we had to rent 2 houses because there were so many of us going. And so we'd stay there for a week, sometimes 2 weeks, and it was just so much fun. It was so relaxing. We'd go to the beach, we'd go to dinner, we'd go shopping. I remember my grandmothers would take us shopping all the time. And so, yeah, we'd go, I got a shopping habit from them. It's their fault. And then, we'd walk on the beach, we'd get shells with my grandfather, we'd go back to the house and we'd paint shells, and it was just so much fun. We played cards, and we had a lot of good memories from our trip. So I couldn't pick one year, but I was going there. My parents brought me there when I was born, and then we stopped going when I was about 15 or 16. I don't know why. We should have kept going because we had a blast. So yeah, that's my favorite childhood memory. I think those were all the questions. Oh no, so I am not married. I don't have any children, and I'm not in a serious relationship right now. There were a few questions about that. So I think those were all the questions about family and the house situation. So I'm going to move on to the next topic. And the next topic that I wrote down is YouTube. I know it's kind of I don't know, not really a good segue, right? Totally different topics, but we're going to go with it because that's just what I do. And my mind works best if I just go down through my list. So we're doing that. I could do a whole video on YouTube and why I started and tips and things like that. That's a whole nother video. I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm not an expert. I don't consider myself an expert, but there were some questions about YouTube, how and why I started. So I never thought I'd start a YouTube channel. I really didn't. So I was in Rhode Island one day with a couple of my friends, and I was telling them I got my first Stitch Fix box, and I was telling them about how much I loved my Stitch Fix box. My first box was a 5 for $5, and I'm like, you should see the clothing. The jeans fit me perfectly. And they're like, Kayla, you should do a YouTube channel and show your boxes and your love of fashion, because I've always loved fashion. And so I'm like, I don't know. I never thought about that. So I just hopped on. I didn't realize the community that existed here on YouTube. So I got really excited and I just did it. I taped my first video, which, nope, don't watch it. Horrifying. I don't even want to watch it. And you just get more comfortable in front of the camera. You have to be yourself. So I just went for it. Because one of the questions was, how'd you get the courage to start? I just did it, Yeah, I figured it can't hurt. And if it went really horribly, then it went horribly and I stopped. But I'm having so much fun with it. And I've told people, when I stop having fun, then I'm not going to do it anymore. But I can't see that happening. I have so much fun. And this is like, I don't know, it just takes my mind off of things. It's like a little escape. I absolutely love my job, which I'll get into in a little while. But my job can be a bit heavy. I mean, I don't know if heavy is the right word, but I'll talk about it later. I need something light, and YouTube is a light hobby for me. And so it's so nice to be able to come on here and talk to you guys. So yeah, I'll get into that in a little while. Tips on creating a successful YouTube channel. There were a couple questions about that. That could be a video on its own. And like I said, I don't consider myself an expert, but what I will say, I gotta take a sip of coffee. But what I will say is you gotta be yourself. You just have to be yourself. You gotta have fun with it, because if you're not having fun, it's gonna show through. You have to just have fun. You gotta be light. Just put some, don't try to be like anybody else. Be yourself and try to find something that's unique about your channel. And yeah, I just have fun with it. Yeah. So I'm not gonna get too much into tips, but like I said, you got to be yourself. You got to have fun with it. Do you feel obligated to reply to each comment? I don't like the word obligated. I don't feel obligated. I want to reply to each comment. I love talking to you guys. So when I first started my channel, I thought I was just going to share fashion, and I thought that was going to be what I loved about it. And I do. But what I love the most and what I didn't expect to come out of YouTube was the friendships and the relationships that I've built with not only other YouTubers, but you guys, my subscribers. I feel like you guys are my friends. I feel like when I'm talking about the clothing, like you guys are in the next dressing room over and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? You know, that's one of my favorite things to say. What do you guys think? So that's one of the most unexpected, but the best things that came out of YouTube is the relationships and friendships that I formed with you guys and other YouTubers. I love it. And I often, like when I post a video, I'm like, ooh, what's this person gonna think about this? Because you guys always leave the best comments, you give the best advice, and you're so sweet, you're so kind, and I really appreciate you all. So yeah, that's the best thing. So I don't feel obligated, but you know, you guys spend a lot of time watching my videos and commenting, and I just want to make sure that I'm responding to you guys. I want to respond. I love to respond. I love the back and forth of it. So yeah, I don't feel obligated. And you know what? Sometimes I'm really bad because I feel like, you know, I don't often respond the same day, and I want to, but sometimes just like life gets too busy. But just know that I'll get to your comments. It might be a day or two later, but I will respond. So yeah, yep. I'm bad at responding. I'm not just bad at responding to YouTube comments, not bad at responding, but like I'm just late and I'm like terrible. Yep. But I'm getting better. I am. So I already talked about, so do you aspire to do YouTube full time? I don't know. When I saw this question and wrote it down, I didn't know how I was going to answer it because I really don't know. I've never really thought about doing YouTube full time. Right now, it's just a hobby for me and I love it, maybe, but I love my job so much that I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever want to give my job up and do YouTube full time. I love how it is right now. I feel like I have a really good balance because I'm able to I'd love to spend a little bit more time on YouTube as far as like getting to the comments right away instead of waiting to respond to the comments. But, you know, I'm really happy with the balance I have with filming. Sometimes I'd rather have more time filming like during the daytime and not in the morning. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to do YouTube full time. That answer could change though down the road. You never know. So another question was, filming. Let's talk about filming in the morning because that was a question. How do you do it? So with COVID, my work hours have changed. I used to go in for 8. Now I go in for 9 o'clock. And so, you know, I have a little bit of extra time in the morning and I just was like, you know what, let me start filming in the morning. It's light enough out that I can do that. I don't live far from work. So yeah, I have the time and I get to be productive in the morning. And now, like what was that? The day after Halloween, I guess, the clocks turn back and it gets dark so early. So I'm leaving work at 5 o'clock and it's dark out. So it's hard to film at night too. So anyway, I try to get filming done in the morning, if not on the weekends. So have you received hurtful comments and how did you deal with them? I have. So, you know, when you start a YouTube channel, you have to realize it's going to happen. There's going to be hurtful comments. You have to have thick skin. If you don't have thick skin, then it's probably not going to work. I haven't received many hurtful comments, but there were a couple that were like, yeah. So I don't think I've deleted more than one comment on my channel. And the reason why I deleted it was because I felt like you guys, my subscribers, had to defend me, and I never want you guys to feel like you have to defend me. I totally appreciate you guys wanting to defend me, but I don't want you to have to do that. I want this to be a really happy, positive place where we can kind of escape for a little bit, you guys and me. And so I think that was the only time I deleted one. I haven't blocked, and I don't think I blocked anybody yet, but you know, if it got that bad, I would. But yeah, you just gotta have thick skin. And what I tell myself is, for every hurtful, like I've only received a couple hurtful comments, maybe a handful I should say, but I received so many positive, wonderful comments. You guys are so awesome. You guys leave me the best comments. There are days that I'm having like a really bad day or I'm just kind of down, and I'll read through the comments and you guys are just awesome. Like you guys leave the most uplifting, sweet comments and you guys just make my day. It's awesome reading through the comments. So I really like know from the bottom of my heart that I really appreciate you and the comments that you leave. It's awesome. So thank you for your support. And I mean that. So another question was about what other YouTube channels do you watch other than fashion? And I watch a lot of fashion. That's one of the things that I love. So I'm going to watch fashion, but I also watch cooking. I don't like to cook, and I don't think I'm a good cook. I can bake, and I like to bake because I like that there's exact measurements with baking. With cooking, it's like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Just do it to taste. And I'm like, no. I need to know exactly what I'm putting in the dish. but I love to watch cooking videos because I feel like they're relaxing. I don't know what it is that they're so relaxing to me. So I like to watch cooking videos, and I like to watch beauty and makeup tutorials because I need some help. So especially with like my eyeshadow, I've been watching some beauty channels just to kind of get some tips on how to, put on some makeup better. So yeah, I've been watching a little bit more of those. Those are probably the other two, other than fashion, that I watch the most. I think that's all of the, I'm sorry that I'm looking down, but I want to make sure I'm getting all of the questions. So I think I hit all of the topics under YouTube. So let's move on. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about next? So I think we'll talk about career and school. So I'm just going to talk about, so let's start from the beginning. So we'll talk about favorite subject, and then I'll get into college, kind of moving along that way. So when I was in school, I don't know if I had a favorite subject. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say science. I just loved, doing experiments and things like that. I've always loved science. And I can't, I don't know. History wasn't really my thing, and I think it was because of the teachers. I think the teachers make like the biggest difference in the world. I didn't always have teachers that were exciting and enthusiastic. And that makes a total difference. And I think one of the reasons why I love science is because I always had really enthusiastic teachers. They had really positive energy. And so I was like, oh, I want to learn more about this. So yeah, I think I would say science was my favorite subject. What kind of student were you? So, I was a pretty good student, I have to say. Even if I didn't love a subject, I put everything into it. I would do homework. I would get frustrated though. My parents would probably tell you, like, if I was stuck, like I wanted to be perfect. I did. I just wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to be a straight A student. I always wanted to be on the dean's list, but didn't always happen. So yeah, I was a pretty good student, but I think I was a little too hard on myself because I've pretty much been a perfectionist, and I'm trying to kind of not be as hard on myself about those types of things. So yeah. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about college. So I went to college here in Connecticut at Central Connecticut State University. It's a state school, and I was a commuter. I thought about going away, and I tried it for a little bit. It just wasn't for me. Nope. But it was meant to be. I'm a firm believer that, everything happens for a reason. So I ended up at Central Connecticut, and yeah, I got a job at the dean's office, and I just loved it. And I got to interact with all the faculty and the staff. And so when I started off at Central, I was going for elementary education. And I just realized after a while, it wasn't for me. It wasn't like the passion wasn't there. Like, you know what I mean? You got to feel, I don't know. I just wasn't really into it anymore. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. So I changed my major, and I started to major in psychology. My minor was criminal justice. That's what I got my bachelor's in, psychology. And I just still didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I'm like, how can I use my degree? I loved the subject, and I just didn't really know. So, I started talking to people in the office that I worked in, and I started doing some job shadowing and some internships. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to get my master's in criminal justice because that's what I was drawn to the most. I loved kind of like that area. And so I started getting my master's, and okay, what I'm gonna say is if you start your master's, don't stop. This girl stopped. I was so close to being done. I finished all of my classes. The only thing I had to do was my thesis. Yep. And this girl didn't do her thesis. And you know why? Because I got so caught up in my job, which I won't say, I love my job, my career. I love it, and maybe it happened for a reason, but I stopped. I should have kept going. I should have just done my thesis, and I would have had my master's in criminal justice. So I finished the classes just so close, and I still regret it to this day. And you know what? Really, I get mad at myself all the time for this, but a girl in my class, in one of my master's classes, was like, you know what, Kayla, you gotta just keep going, because she had stopped and she had to do the whole thing over. So if I wanted to go back and finish my master's, I would have to start fresh. She was doing the same thing. She had started fresh. She left because of her job. Not left, but, stopped taking classes. She wasn't as far along as I was. But, yeah, I think about that all the time. Like, you know what? I was so close to being done, but I didn't finish. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. Maybe one day I'll go back. So yeah, so the reason why I stopped going, not stopped going, but the reason why I just kind of didn't focus on my thesis is because of my job. I put all of my energy into my job. I absolutely love my job. I'm still in the same, I'm in the same program as I was before, but I moved up. So I focused on, advancing in my career. I put that over my master's, and I probably could have done both at the same time, but I didn't. So I work in a program, and we actually work with individuals involved in the criminal justice system, and we really provide them services to change their lives. So we get referrals from probation officers, and we get referrals from the court, and we work with them to determine what they need to kind of get back on their feet. I absolutely love my job. So right now I am the program manager of that program. So I run the program, and I started off, working directly with the clients. I still do, and I love it. And that's the job meant for me. It is. Every day, I see people change, and that's so worth it for me. It is. So people come through our doors, and they're not at the best spot in their lives, and they walk out. It's a walk-in program, so nobody stays there or lives there, I should say. They just come for their services and they leave. And it's amazing to see the turnaround once they're done with the program. Not everybody, I'll say, but pretty much, I would say like 95% of the people that come through our doors leave in a better spot than they did. We're able to provide them like employment services and basic needs services. And the stories, like I talked about earlier, when YouTube is something light for me, the stories that I hear are tough. People go through a lot, and we see people at the darkest times in their life, or some of the darkest times in their lives, and if not, they're telling us about the darkest times in their lives, and that could be a lot to hear because you hear so much of it. And so YouTube is just very light for me. And don't get me wrong, I love my job. I love it. Every day I pull into work and I'm happy. I have a smile on my face, and not every day's, I'm not saying like it's all, rainbows and butterflies. It's not. There's tough days at my job. But you know what? It's worth it, because at the end of the day, we're changing lives. And the reason that we exist is because people change, and people can change. And people that go into the system, the criminal justice system, they're going to come out, and so they need support, they need services. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. And I'm so happy that I found my spot, and I love what I do. And I see so many success stories. Like I said, not everybody's a success story, but that's okay, but I have so many success stories, and at the end of the day, like, that's what matters the most, seeing everybody that comes through leave in a better spot. And I kind of miss working more one-on-one, because right now I do a lot of administrative stuff. I still see the clients every day, and I have to talk to especially the tougher ones. But it's now I get to see my staff make that impact, and they're like, oh gosh, Kayla, like this person said this, and they changed they got a job here, and it just means so much. So I know I'm talking forever. I could go on and on about my job. I love my job. I do. So that's what I do for a living, and I think you guys have a good idea about it now. It's always hard to explain what I do, and my parents, I love them, but they still don't like get it, But I love it. I do. Ultimate dream job. I love my job. I don't know. I think I have my dream job. I would like to move up a little bit more in my agency, but I love it. I do. I'm very happy. Okay, so I think that were all the questions about my career, but if I missed one, let me know. So we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna talk about, I missed a page. So I had a bunch of questions about clothing and boxes, so I'm gonna do that now. Kind of going like, I know, all over the place, but like I said, that's what I do. But I wanna make sure I'm going all over the place as far as like topics, but I gotta go in order so I don't miss anything. Does that make sense to you? See, I told you, I'm probably not good at this. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, Kayla, stick to the boxes. Don't worry, I've got more boxes inside to be filmed. Hang on. So let's talk about boxes. I had quite a few questions about clothing and boxes. So let's get to those now. So I think we're gonna go through this and maybe stop, and then we'll go to part 2 later on. So what do you do with all your clothes? That was a question. So I do get a lot of clothes. I have a lot of clothes, but what I want to say is that I'm really good at like cleaning out my closet after every season. So what I do is I go through my closet, like what I did recently at the end of summer is anything that I didn't wear, it's coming out of my closet. Yep, anything that I didn't wear that season left. So I'm pretty good at purging. I'm really good at purging even animal prints. I can do that. But you know what I can't purge, that I just can't let go of? My denim. I just hang on to denim. I don't know what it is. I have a denim problem. But yeah, so if I don't give my clothes away to, like, I have a couple friends that I usually give clothes to if I'm not using them. I have a Poshmark, but I'm really bad at listing things on Poshmark. Like, I have a bunch of things sitting to be listed and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I do have a Poshmark closet. I will link it below, but there's not a lot of stuff in there right now. And I'm hoping that I'll have some time as it gets colder out and we're inside more to get some stuff listed, because I've got some stuff to be listed. What is your favorite piece of clothing? That's a tough question because I have a lot of favorite pieces of clothing. I'd have to say my favorite piece of clothing right now are my green joggers from my Trendsend box that I got. I think it was like a month or so ago. So yeah, that's my favorite piece of clothing right now. Hang on one second. Okay, so the postman pulled up and I wasn't expecting a delivery today, but this one was gonna start going crazy. So I figured, you know what, let me stop, let her get her energy out and we'll continue. So let's go on. The next question is your favorite clothing line. I don't know that I have a favorite clothing line. I even went to my closet to see if I have something that stands out, you know, like as far as the number of pieces that I have from a line. I do like Vince Camuto. I do like my Good American jeans. So that's one of my favorite lines for denim. I know a lot of you don't like Good American, or not a lot of you, but some of you have said Good American don't work for you. And they just work for my shape and for my body, you know, my size. So they're very comfortable too. I know they're pricey, but I would say Good American. I was trying to think of other brands that I kind of gravitate towards, but like Daniel Rain I like from Stitch Fix. But other than that, there's really no brands that like stood out to me in my closet. I have a good variety in there, so yeah. All right, the next question is who or what inspired you to be interested in fashion? So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but my great grandmother and my grandmother on my dad's side have inspired me to be interested in fashion. They have a ton of clothes, they had a ton, jewelry was their thing, and every single Friday these two would go shopping. So there's 3 malls that are pretty close by, you know, to where we live. And so they would go shopping every single Friday. They would rotate. They'd have a rotation. So, you know, one Friday they'd go to West Farms, the next Friday they'd go to Buckland, the next Friday they'd go to Meriden. So they just kind of went all around. And if I was off from school, I was going with them. Yep. But they love Macy's. I mean, they could spend hours in Macy's, and I like to roam the mall. So, but yeah, they really inspired me to be interested in fashion and jewelry. They have a ton of jewelry. You know, my great grandmother has passed, but my grandmother has a ton. And my grandfather, who's still alive as well, is always on her. You got to purge. You got to get rid of stuff. Where are you going to put things? And, you know, you can't tell her anything. She just loves her clothes. She really does. So they were both the ones that inspired me to be interested in fashion from a very young age, because they were my babysitters. Yep. My great grandmother was my babysitter. When my parents went to work, she'd watch me if we were off from school, and shopping was a hobby for us. Yep. So that's where I blame them for my shopping problems. So they started it, and I'm just continuing it. Have you always loved apparel and accessories? I have. Yep. So I went through phases where I didn't really care for shopping, but you know, when I was younger, like I just wanted to shop alone. And my mom was like, you can't go roaming the mall alone. But I just like to be like, when I shop, I'm better if I'm shopping alone. If I'm with somebody else, I'm like, I'm okay. Like I like to go shopping with others, but like I'm my best when I'm like be able to focus and be on my own. And sometimes I like to be in and out. And you know, my grandmothers, they like to browse. My mom likes to browse. And sometimes I don't like to browse. If I do a quick look and I don't see anything off the bat that's for me, I'm out. So I like to be by myself a lot when I'm shopping. So I've always been interested in it. But yeah, my mom used to say like, you lost your interest in shopping. But no, I really didn't. I just wanted to go alone. And when I was younger, I couldn't. She'd be like, Kayla, you want to go shopping today? You know, this is when I was like, you know, in my early teens, maybe like even, you know, younger than that. And I'd be like, nope, not today. But that's because I didn't want to browse. Nope. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to browse, but sometimes I am. So it just depends. But yes, I've always loved apparel and accessories. So the next question is, there one piece that stands out as your favorite piece of all time? And I don't know if there is a piece. I guess maybe within the last few years, there's a piece that I've held onto for quite some time, and that's my faux fur vest from White House Black Market. I've had that for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I love that vest. I wear it all the time, especially this time. Well, not now because it's warm, which is nice. I'm not complaining. But throughout the fall and winter, I pull for that vest a ton. It really dresses an outfit up. So it's good for work, it's good for special occasions. And so yeah, I pull for that vest a lot. So that might be my favorite piece within like the last, I don't know, it might be my favorite piece of all time because I wear it so much. And when that vest has seen all of its days, when I have to get rid of it, I'm going to be very devastated. So I think I might have to say that because I don't think I felt that way over a lot of my clothing. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to get rid of that. Yep. And are you proud of me? That's not an animal print piece. Yep. So the next question is my favorite stores for clothes. So that's a really good question too. So I'd have to say probably Nordstrom Rack is one of my favorite spots to shop for clothes. And I like going to Old Navy, but that's just like as of recently. You know, I never really went to Old Navy much before, but I feel like they've stepped up their game. So I'd have to say Old Navy. What else am I mean, I like going to Macy's. I like going to Nordstrom's. I don't really, you know, not go to, there's stores that I don't care for, but oh, the Loft. I love the Loft too. Yep. So that's probably in my top favorites, but yeah, I don't have an absolute favorite, but I think if I had to pick an absolute favorite, it would be Nordstrom Rack. And that's as of recently too. I've been really spending a lot of time in Nordstrom Rack, so much so that I kind of like want to go every weekend, and I've stopped myself. Like I'll tell my sister, I'm like, oh, going to Nordstrom Rack. And she's like, again? Weren't you just there? I'm like, hey, no judgment. She is not a shopper. Nope, she did not catch the shopping trait from my grandparents. Nope, she did not. Nope, but she's probably better off saving her money, right? But you know what? I will say, when she goes shopping, she's one to invest in like good quality pieces. I think because she doesn't want to go shopping a lot. So like when she gets jeans, she's okay with spending like over $100 on her jeans because she just wants them forever, so she doesn't have to go shopping. But she does love her boxes too. So boxes are a good fit for her because she doesn't like to go. So, all right. Another question is your favorite thing to shop for. I'm assuming it's about clothing. So I don't know. I think my favorite thing to shop for is jeans. And that's new because, and I think it's because before I started doing my boxes, I could never find a good pair of jeans. And I never thought I'd find a pair of jeans that I loved and I was comfortable in. It was a struggle for me because I'm short and I'm wide. Yep. So I just never could find a pair of jeans that worked for both of those issues, you know? So what I decided when I started boxes, I'm like, there's no way they're going to get it right. A stranger is going to send me a pair of jeans that works for me. I can't even find a pair of jeans that works for myself. I was blown away. My first Stitch Fix box, they sent me a pair of jeans and they fit like a glove. They were comfortable. They're cut from the cloth. It introduced me to cut from the cloth. And so, yeah, now I'm able to shop for jeans on my own because I know which brands work for me. So I thank the subscription boxes for introducing me to the jeans. So now I can go on my own and find them too. So yeah, I think my favorite thing to shop for right now is denim. That wasn't always the case. Nope. My favorite thing to shop, and I think that's why I'm like so big on hoarding my denim because I never could find good denim for me. Like if you asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, I hate shopping for denim. I hate it. I can't do it. I would avoid it at all costs. I hated trying it on in the fitting room. So yeah, now I love it. But if you had to ask me before, I'd probably say tops. I love shopping for tops for blouses because you can change up the bottom so easily, you know? So, all right. The next question is, how do you store your jewelry? So I have, you know what? I probably will insert a picture if I can to the side. Just moving over so I have room to insert a picture. I have this jewelry storage, I don't know what to call it. I got it on QVC. It's got a mirror in the front and then it just opens up and there's room to store hang necklaces and bracelets and earrings. And that's how I store my jewelry. It works for me, although I'm running out of room. Yep, I am. But I keep getting jewelry because I love my jewelry too. So next question is my favorite subscription box. So this varies depending on how they're doing. But my tried and true, I'd have to say, is Stitch Fix. My stylist, Amanda, I say this, you guys are probably sick of hearing me say this. She does such an awesome job. She keeps my price points at a reasonable level. And even if every box is not a 5 for 5, which is a good thing for my wallet, I still am able to find a piece or two. She pushes me out of my comfort zone. That's probably my favorite box, although my Transcend boxes, yeah, they're kind of getting up there. I switched my store to the warehouse in Plymouth, and yeah, I was very impressed with my first box from that store. So that's probably up there as well. So, yep. All right, let's see. Favorite store to shop at in person. So I think Nordstrom Rack. I'm going back to Nordstrom Rack. You know, they have good prices and I like the way that the store is organized and kind of laid out. in my store, there's room to move and things don't feel crowded, because that's one of the things that I don't care for with like the TJ Maxx and the Marshalls sometimes. You know, I do like to shop there, but sometimes they're so crowded and yeah, I just can't do it. So I'd have to say Nordstrom Rack, I think, is my favorite place to shop in person right now. Let's see, how many pairs of jeans do I own? I forgot to count. Hang on, I'm gonna go count really quick and I'll be right back. Okay, the count is complete and I'm a little embarrassed. I've got 33. Is that a lot? Oh gosh, yeah. I may have to purge a little bit. Ooh, 33. Do I need help? But you know what? Hey, I'm turning 33, so meant to be, right? So yeah, 33 pairs of denim. Should I hide? Gosh, that is a lot of denim. Okay. Closet tour. So I've been asked to do this before and I want to, but I just have to figure out like how. I know that sounds crazy that I have to figure out how, but just how to tape it and how to, you know, bring you guys along. I would love to show you because I think I have a pretty good method for organizing my closet that I'd like to share, and I'll talk about it. So what I do is I organize my closet. Like I have all of my tanks separate. I have all of my short sleeve tops separate, and I have all of my long sleeve tops and cardigans. So if it's a cardigan, long sleeve top, it's gonna go in one section, short sleeve in one section, and then the tanks. And I color coordinate. So I go from red just right through the rainbow, right? I do. And then all of my neutrals are in the back, my grays, my blacks, my whites, but they're separated. So I have a gray section, a black section, and a white section, a beige section. So I do separate them by type, so tank, and then within type, color. And I'm like, I see other people's closets, like in my family and my friends, and I'm like, how do you guys decide what to wear? Because I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I want to wear a red top today. I go right to my red section. Yep. But if I didn't, like, I would just be, I don't know, I'd be lost if I didn't color coordinate. But I know our brains work differently, so I love my color coordination. So if I could figure out a good way to tape my closet tour, I'll show you. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, logistically how to do it, you know what I mean? But I do need help with like my pants and my jeans, because I need a better method for storing them. They're folded right now. I don't like that because I have to sift through, and I just don't know. I don't know. And then my jackets are separate. So, you know, if my jackets are like what I consider to be like how do I say it? Like, you know, your puff jackets for the winter and a heavy like winter jacket, a raincoat, those stay downstairs. And then like my vests and my lighter like denim jackets, my moto jackets, they stay upstairs in my regular closet. But yeah, the other like heavier jackets, I should say, stay downstairs. So hopefully one day I'll be able to show you my closet. But I am a color coordinator. The next question is favorite item you ever received from a subscription box, and you can't say it's an animal print. No animal prints. So while I do love my animal prints, my favorite piece ever was my Good American jeans. And I know you're probably sick of hearing me say this, but that's my favorite piece because they introduced me to that brand and I was so hesitant. I think I paid like $159 for my first pair. And yeah, a little bit pricey, but I don't regret it. They're worth every single penny. Yep, at least to me they are. I love my Good American jeans. As a matter of fact, I wore them the other day. So I get a lot of wear out of them, and I've had them for over a year now. I think a year and a half. And I got them in a trunk, and I'm so happy that my stylist at the time, I had my stylist Kayla, and she knew what to send me. So yeah, that's my favorite piece of all time. And no, not animal print. Okay, so my next question is favorite clothing subscription and why. I think I kind of touched on this when I talked about my Stitch Fix box and how Stitch Fix is one of my favorite boxes. I think I'm gonna say Stitch Fix. I'm gonna stick with that. I love the pieces that my stylist sends me, and when I looked in my closet, I think that's the piece or the clothing that I've kept the most out of all my boxes as I'm sorting through. So I think I'm gonna stick with Stitch Fix. What was your very first subscription? Stitch Fix. There's a story behind this. So my mom and my sister they did Stitch Fix before me, and the neighbor's gonna start doing lawn work. So I don't know if I should pause. Maybe you guys can hear me. I hope you guys can. Although that's pretty distracting, isn't it? Should we take a break? Hang on. Okay, it got a little loud. Hopefully it's better now. So I think I left off, I was going to tell you a story about my first subscription box. It was actually Stitch Fix. That was my first subscription. My mom and my sister have done Stitch Fix for longer than I have, and they were trying to get me to try it out. And I'm like, I don't know if it's for me. You know, I don't know. What if I get a box and I don't like anything and I'm out the $20? So I just wasn't sure for a long time. And so finally one day I'm like, you know what? Let me just give it a try. And boy, I don't regret that at all. And I loved my first box. It was a 5 for $5, and I ended up going down the rabbit hole of other boxes. So that was my first clothing box. And now I do it more often than they do. And they were doing it a lot. And I get mine every 2 to 3 weeks. And I think they've actually dropped back. I think they get theirs like every season. I'm like, guys, just get another box. It'll be fun. But they have more control than I do. All right, so next question. Let's see, where did I leave off? What was your very first subscription? Okay, so I talked about that already. See, this is what happens when I jump around. Now I'm getting confused. So what is your favorite store to shop at compared to when you were younger? So when I was younger, I shopped at like the American Eagles, the Aeropostales, what's the Abercrombie's, the Hollister. When I was a teen, yeah, those were my stores. You couldn't tell me anything else. Yep. And now I shop at like, you know, I like the Loft. I like the Nordstrom Rack. I do like White House Black Market. I go kind of on and off with them because I just feel like sometimes they're a bit pricey for what, I don't know. I mean, I do have good quality clothes. I do like White House Black Market. Same thing with like Evereve. They are pricey, but I love their clothing. So I think my style has just become a little bit more, you know, mature. So the next question is favorite budget store to do hauls from. Okay, that's a good question too. Now, some days I'm in the mood to go to TJ Maxx, and that would be my favorite, but I'm not always in the mood to sift through, you know, the crowded racks. And so Nordstrom Rack would have to be another store, but I've got to get better at doing more budget hauls. Let me know where you want to see some hauls from. I know I've asked before and I'm trying to work down my list too, but I always like getting new ideas. So do you have a clothes budget and do you stick to it? No, I don't stick to it. So I try to limit myself. I don't like have an exact budget, but I just try to be like careful of what I spend. I don't stick to it. I'm a shopaholic. Yeah, no, I don't. I have to admit that's where I need to be better, is sticking to a clothing budget. I think I need to start limiting myself, but you know what? I don't go overboard. I know my overall limit and I won't ever put myself in, you know, trouble. But yeah, I've got to be able to stick to my budget. I do. So I don't stick to one right now. I don't. Who's with me? The next question, how big is your closet? Does it hold all of your clothes? My closet does hold all of my clothes, and hopefully I can be able to give you a tour of my closet. Like I said, I just got to figure out how I would do it. I guess I could just kind of walk you through and show you. I don't know. Method for closet organization. I already talked about that as well. So that was all of the clothing and boxes section. Now we have a couple other categories, but I think I'm probably going on like 45 minutes, and I think that's a limit. So I kind of want to stop here for part 1. And then when I come back, we have favorites and we have a big miscellaneous section. So I'm going to do those 2 sections. That'll probably be another half hour or so when we come back. So thank you for sticking through for part 1. I hope I answered the questions in the categories. If I didn't, let me know and I'll respond back in the comments below. Or, you know, actually, I probably have already done part 2 by the time that you're seeing this, you know what I mean? So thanks so much for sticking out and for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. You know, this is different for me. I'm not used to just sitting here talking to you guys, so I think I need some practice. So thanks again, and I will see you in part 2.